Hello students, welcome to online classes of geography of class 12. This is my third class of your chapter number 7, tertiary and quaternary activities. Now this is my question answer class session. Today I am going to discuss the NCERT questions of this chapter and followed by the CBSE board questions. So let us proceed with the NCERT questions. Now the first MCQ that is given over here, which one of the following is a tertiary activity? So the correct answer is trading. Which one of the following activities is not a secondary sector activity? That is catching fish. Which one of the following sector provides most of the employment in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata? Answer is service. Next, jobs that involve high degrees and level of innovations are known as quaternary activities. Which one of the following activity is related to quaternary sector? That is university teaching. And lastly, which one of the following statement is not true? So all first, third and fourth statements are true. That is, outsourcing reduces cost and increases efficiency. BPOs have better business opportunities as compared to KPOs, and there may be dissatisfaction among job seekers in the countries that outsource the job. Now the not true statement is that at times engineering and manufacturing jobs can be outsourced. This one, it is not true. So these are the answers. That is option number 2 is the correct answer. This is the correct answer, and for this it's the correct answer. Now let us move to the that is the subjective questions. Now the first question, explain retail trading. Now what is retail trading? The definition of the retail trading is very clear. Where the consumers are directly there to buy the products and even the selling of the products directly to the consumer. That is retail trading. The retail trading services which are confined to the direct sale of the goods to the consumer, it is retail trading. Now what is quaternary activities? Now quaternary activity that are developed form of services which needs specific knowledge, some high level of technical skills, and then administrative competence should be there, then communication competence should be there. That is quaternary services. Name the fast emerging countries of the medical tourism in the world. So the fast emerging countries of the medical tourism in the world, number 1 is obviously India, then comes Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia. These are the that is the fast emerging countries which are there in the medical tourism. India, Thailand, Singapore is there, Malaysia is there, which is continuously emerging as a medical tourism. Now what is digital divide? Now digital divide is basically a division between a region. Digital divide is basically a division between the two regions which is there due to the information technology. When a developed and a developing zone is divided on the basis of the ICT, that is information communication and technology, or IT, that is information technology, that division is termed as digital divide. Okay. Now next, these all questions were of 30 words. Next it is, discuss the significance and the growth of service sector in modern economic development. Now the growth of service sector in the modern or the importance of the service sector in the that is the growth in the modern economics. What is the question? Modern economic development. So the that is, we can support it by saying it in this order that service sector is very important component of modern economic development. Why? Because it includes what? Retailing and selling of goods to the people, under which various services are there, whether it is a service of education, whether it is service of health, welfare, then recreation, business, whatever the service it is, can be a point. Next, it can be there has been a rapid growth in the service because it based upon development, that is especially in economics, that is advanced economics, and the recent years have shown a constant shift of employment from towards the service sector, and where it is basically it is there in the developed nation. It is less in percentage in the developing nation, but it is more in the developed nations. And recently, even in the developing countries, the service sectors are growing at a much faster rate compared to the manufacturing sector. Now, what are basically included in the service sector? Number one, it is trading activities. Number two, it is transport and communication. Number three, it is financial services, and number four, it is business services. So, all these can be considered as a point of significance. That is why there is a growth of service sector in the modern economic development. Now, next question is, explain in detail the significance of transport and communication services. Now, the significance of transport and communication services, first of all, what is the benefit of a transport? It links between what? It links between producer and consumer, as by which persons manufactured goods and various other that is property or the physically carried from one place of origin to their place of destination. And transport is basically an organized industry to satisfy man's basic needs of what? Mobility. It satisfies the basic needs of mobility. Now, the modern society need fastest system of transportation, fastest transport system. Why? Because it helps in production as to get the raw materials, it helps in distribution and the consumption of the goods. So, the value of the material can be justified or can be enhanced with the means of transportation or with the help of the transportation. Now, this is related to the transportation. Now, how communication is having its importance? The communication services includes what? Transmission of ideas, words, messages, facts. Now, places where transport network is not efficient, their communications can easily spread out these messages, where communication can easily spread out these messages. Now, the development of the telecommunication, that is mobile, satellites, have made communication independent of transport. Now, communication is not totally dependent on transport. Then the development of mass media, that is both electronic and print, have been able to cover even in all the corners of the world, where whatever it is happening in the different corners of the world, it is being touched by this electronic and print media, and that is why it has created lots of revolution in the entire world. And the global communication system has not only created the revolution, rather it has, even the transport and the communication has developed the entire world into a global village. So, you can write the answer by following the video for the significance of transport and communication. Now, let us proceed to the board questions. Now, the board questions first, 2008. Compare the features of urban marketing centers and rural marketing centers. Now, urban marketing centers and the rural, all these already the features are given to you. I am just repeating it once again. A rural marketing center, they specifically that is they cater the needs of the nearby settlements, whereas urban marketing centers, they provide the specialized and the diversified function to the entire urban area. Next, it is not specifically localized, it is spread out to an entire urbanized area. Next, it is very much elementary in type, it is most rudimentary, but it is very much highly professionals, and they are also there to provide the manufactured goods, that is the urban marketing center. Under the rural, the professional and personal services are not so very well developed, but it is quite well developed because we can get the services of teachers, doctors, lawyers, financial that is advisors. In this order, we are able to get the benefit in the urban marketing centers. And lastly, we can say that rural marketing centers just meet the needs of the local rural areas, and urban marketing center fulfills the needs of the and the demands of the wide urbanized areas. Okay, so these are the difference between the urban marketing and the rural marketing centers. As the marks are 3, so you can just jot down any 3 points. Now the next question, why does the service sector generally concentrated in the developed region? Now the service sector is one of the most productive and increasing sector in the world. Okay, and as I just discussed in the previous NCERT, that it's include lots of activities like selling, that means trading activities, transportational activities, and various other services are also there. So why it is being well developed, it is generally considered in the developing countries, because in the developing countries the business services are very much developed, because they are having quite developed advertisement legal services, their public relations are very good. Second, they are having lots of financial support, their investment rate of investment and that is their insurance facilities are too developed, and then their personal services, their maintenance services, all these are well developed, and over there we are getting both the producers and the consumer links are quite well developed in the developed countries. So that is the reason why service sector is well developed or concentrated in the developed nations. Now what is the importance of tourism? The next question, and explain the that is the 4 factors of the tourist attraction. Now the 4 factors of the tourist attraction is already been there in your that is video as well as in the note. Now importance of tourism means, first of all we can see that it is the highest labor intensive activity of its kind, and it's generate and that is why it provides lots of employment generation, or it generates that is employment. Then it helps to develop the production of the local products, so it increases the livelihood, or it enriches the livelihood of the tourist areas. So even the transportational network develops, the communication developments are there. So the importance of tourism means it generates huge amount of, basically what we can say, tourism is a labor intensive industry. That means provides employment to a large scale to the various aspects, to the various sector. So that is a 1 mark question, and explain the example. The 4 factors of tourist attractions. The climate is there, the landscape is there, the historical aspects are there, all the aspects which is given over there. You can just write the answer by following the notes which has already been discussed in the previous class. Now next question of the next year, 2009. Define quaternary activity. I just discussed about that question in the first part only. Then tourism is a highly labor intensive activity of a unique kind in the world. Support this statement. That is only I discussed in the previous, that it provides employment to 250 million population in the world. Then 40% of the GDP contribution is there from the tourism as a service sector, and then it also supports infrastructural industries in a form of roadways, hotels, security, entertainments, motels. So it is a labor intensive activity. So you can give the examples by supporting that how tourism is a highly labor intensive activity. Now why is the service sector in developed and developing countries are growing faster? Now that is compared to the manufacturing sector. Now, why it is growing faster in the developed and the developing countries than the manufacturing sector? Because that is a service sector is basically dealing up with the highly sophisticated technologies, and manufacturing sector which can be operated and controlled by very few people. But here what we can say that it is a very high sophisticated technology where it is need a very less that is number of the people which is there with the high sophisticated machines and the high technological skills. So as a result, there are many manufacturing sector or people, those who are employed in manufacturing sector, now they are switching off their jobs to the service sector. First of all, because of this sophisticated technology. Secondly, manufacturing company needs a large number of people in non-direct production sectors also. That means from carrying from one place to another, like clerical, managerial, advertisements, sales, legal, financial aspect, all these, and which have a higher income because they are not free of cost. We have to pay salary to these people too. Then the people employed in the direct production, so which is not there in the case of service sector. It is directly connected to the service. There are no such clerical jobs or the managerial or advertisements as sectors. Now next, the service sector is growing importance because more and more females are seeking employment in the service sector, and that provides better environment for them and high per capita income than in manufacturing sector. You can just see the that is the salary status of the manufacturing sector and the service sector. So obviously service sector people are highly paid compared to the people engaged in the manufacturing sector, and manufacturing sector which does not have a proper environment for the women section to get employed over there, but it is there for the service sector. So that these are the reasons why continuously the service sector is developed, is fast growing in developed and developing countries compared to the manufacturing sector. Now next it is, how does the climate of a region attract tourists? Explain with example from different regions of the world. Now climate is one of the important aspect of the tourist attraction. Number one, the Mediterranean climate, which is comparatively one of the most important attraction for the tourist spot. Secondly, the sea beaches where the climatic condition is moderate, which is being another most important attractive places of the world. And thirdly, people those who are staying in the warm climatic condition, they are much more attracted towards the mountainous areas because over there the climatic condition is quite cool. So in this way you will just take the examples of the three different types of the climatic conditions of entire world, and you have to jot down the answers by giving the examples. Now next, it is 2010. What is the meaning of the retail trade servicing? It is just a repetition. What are the two factors that affect tourism in the world? Now the two factors that affect tourism in the world, number one is the transport and number two is the demand. If the transport is the fastest one, the network is quite that is the easiest one and comparatively a cheaper one, obviously people will be attracted towards those tourist spots. And secondly, the demand, where the demand for the tourist spots are more, the people are much more attracted over there. Now why the demand is more? Because there are many reasons behind it, that it leads to the advertisements. People are very much influenced by the advertisements. Then it is there by the various services that the tourist spots are rendering, so they are attracted over there. Or if they are having any specific cultural or the heritage factors is there, then it is getting attracted towards there. In this way you can connect the answers to make your answers of 3 marks, but the two subheadings will be, number one is the transport and number two is the demand. Now next, explain the 3 characteristics of the periodical that is the three characteristics of the periodical markets of rural areas in the world. Now, periodical markets means where the market is not there for the entire period, it is only there for a certain period of time. That means either it is once in a week or it is twice in a week. So, the periodic markets are organized at a temporal intervals. Then the local people from surrounding villages, they meet and fulfill their accumulated demands. Okay? And thirdly, the periodic markets may be both in form of wholesale trading also as well as retailing also. And in rural that is places of country like India, where we are having that hart or mandis maybe once in a week or twice in a week. Okay? So, in this way these are the characteristics or the features of periodic markets of the rural areas in the world. Now, next, any three characteristics of the urban marketing center. Just now I discussed the difference between the rural and the urban marketing center. So, from there only you can get the answer. Now, just one question where you can find out the questions are quite it's repeated. So, it's only the one that is not repeated, you write the answers of those questions only. If it is a repeated question, no need to repeat the answer each and every time. Okay? If once it is already done in your copy, then there is no need to repeat the answer as the questions are repeating in the following years. Now, 2011, explain any three characteristics of the quaternary activities. Now, the three characteristics of the quaternary activities, number one, they are specifically that is a specialized and complex category of the activities, the quaternary activities, and it is mainly concerned with the knowledge of education, information, research and development. Secondly, quaternary activities basically refers to the more intellectual occupations, and the task is to think, research and develop. And lastly, in most of the advanced countries, developed countries, the quaternary activities engage a small but growing proportion of the population. The number of the people are small, but growing proportion of the population. Activities engages a small but growing proportion of population. That means the advanced skillful population they are engaging. It is not that a vast physical labor people are there in the quaternary activities. So, thus wise they are professional workers or white collar workers. Now, explain any three characteristics of the quaternary activities. Now, the quaternary characteristics of the quaternary activities are there because the quaternary people are considered as a gold collar workers. They are there in the highest level of the technical skills, and the entire world follow the policies that is made by the quaternary people, and here they are basically dealing up with the outsourcing of their knowledge, or they are there to disseminate their knowledge or spread out their knowledge, and their main work is related to the policy makers. They are considered as the policy makers and they are the gold collar workers. Now, define the term tourism. Already it is being discussed. What is tourism? The tourism is a travel undertaken for the purpose of recreation rather than for the business, but nowadays tourism is there for various purposes. It can be there for education, it can be there for that is medical purpose, it can be there for a business purpose, it can be there for recreation purpose, it can be there for adventure, can be there for sports. So, there are various categories of tourism, but actually it is a travel which is not a permanent, it is a temporary travel undertaken for various purposes. Now, next, that was a question of 2012. Next, give any two examples of quaternary activities. Now, the two examples of the quaternary activities are that the teachers are there, the financial advisors are there, doctors are there, comes under the category of the quaternary activities. What do you mean by the term wholesale trading? Now, what is wholesale trading? The wholesale trading means where there is a bulk business through numerous intermediate merchants and supply houses, but there is no direct connectivity with the consumers, that is wholesale trading. Now let us move to the next here, that is define the term tertiary activity. Now tertiary activity means the activity where there is related to the services which are of different from production of materials and which do not process or manufacture goods directly. That means they do not manufacture goods directly, rather we can say tertiary activities do not manufacture any tangible goods, they produce intangible goods. Now next, list out the types of the stores prevailing in the entire world with its basic characteristics. Now there are three types of the stores which prevails in the entire world. Number one is the consumer cooperatives, which are the first one on the large scale, and it is a retailing one, and it is basically there for the welfare of the society, because here the products are sold at a subsidized rate. Then comes the departmental stores, where everything is there, each and every commodity is present under of different sections of the, that is of the different stores are there, and it is present under one roof, and the chain stores are able to purchase the products most economically, often going so far as to direct the goods to be manufactured to their specification. That means we can get the products whether we are there in this part of the country or whether we are away from this part of the country. With that same specification, we can get that product or buy that product, that is chain store. Now 2014 there was no question, 2015 there was no question. Very sorry, 2015 there is one question, that what is medical tourism? Now medical tourism means the tourism which is basically connected or combined with the work of medical support. That means the medical treatment which is supported with the tourism, and it is a international tourism, and when this is in practice we term it as a medical tourism. Now explain the scope of medical services for overseas patient in India. Now the scope of medical services for overseas patient in India is, number one, they are there to send their that is MRI images to our country. Then they are there to send their ultrasound reports for the basically for the second opinion, and then they can it can also focus on the improving quality of the that is the services that they are providing with a special care. And we are having the hospitals also, we are having the hospitals where they are performing the various services to give the better treatment or to give the second opinion to the reports that are being sent from the far off countries or sent from the foreign countries. That is there for the scope for the overseas patients in India. Now next, 2016, explain the importance of communication services in the world. Now importance of communication, communication is one of the important services. Why? Because without, where there is, I already discussed, where there is significance of communication, it is just the same thing what the answer I discussed for the part of your exercise. The answer is the same, that where there is no net connectivity or there is inefficient connectivity of the transportation, the communication can easily spread out the messages. Even the development of the area that is those remote areas can be possible with the help of the communication, and communication is now becoming independent of transport activities or transportation. Even the mass media, whether it is electronic and or it is print media, they are able to connect the entire pockets of the world, and they are transferring the entire world into a global village with the help of this communication media. And every aspect of the world, every problem of the world is being discussed with the help of the and that is why it is there to get the solutions for the problems that can be faced by the different parts of, or different corners of the country or the world. Now, classify means of communication on the basis of the scale and the quality into two categories. Now, we are having on the basis of the scale and quality, the communications are of two types. Number one, personal communication, and number two, mass communication. Now, the two characteristic, personal communication, it is between the two people, it is totally personal and private. The messages are secret, it is within the two individuals only, and it does not basically leads to any sort of awareness, or what we can say leads to the economic development. But mass communication, which is there within the society, within the different categories of the people, and it is there to aware the society, to spread out the that is the messages to the society, and it leads to develop the economy. So, the categories are personal and mass, and you can write the characteristics in this order. Next, 2018, why is India a popular tourist destination in the world? Now, India is a popular tourist destination in the world, number one, because of its diverse physiography, because of its diversity in physiography, number one, and number two, now it has also developed as a important medical tourist spot. So, it has, because of its climatic conditions, because of its physiographic condition, because of its culture and heritage, it is as an important tourist, popular tourist destination, and simultaneously it has also got its importance due to its medical support. So, medical tourism has also made India a popular tourist destination. Now, 2019, explain the main characteristics of the professional workers or white collars. So, the main characteristic, it is not sticks, actually it will be main characteristic, it is only one, okay, 1 mark question, only one. So, the main characteristic of professional workers are that they are related to knowledge, they are knowledge oriented worker, they are service oriented worker. So, there where they are totally there to disseminate the messages, disseminate the knowledge, they are considered as a professional workers. Define the term communication and describe the importance of telecommunication. Now, the term communication, as I already discussed, it is a service that involves the transmission of the ideas, messages, facts. Now, what is telecommunication, or what is the question? Importance of telecommunication. Now, telecommunication is basically it is basically one of the services which is there, where the service is being rendered with the help of the satellite services, where the satellite, now how you are getting the classes now, I am just giving an example, how is it possible sitting at home and you are just getting the knowledge, that is the what we can say, the spreading out the knowledges. So, it is a part of the telecommunication. With the help of the mobile, with the help of the that is the telephones, we are able to spread out the knowledges. Now, so the telecommunication is basically related to the important fact, that is the internet, or what we can say the satellite. Now, the satellite is basically encouraging the activities to develop the encouraging is there to develop the service sector. Now, the service sector is depending upon the telecommunication, where there is inaccessibility of the transport activities or transport services. Now, let us just a minute. Now, telecommunication is also, which is there to develop the modern technology, and it has speed up the that is the sending of the messages, which has basically reduced from weeks to minutes and then in seconds, and that is why we are able to make a direct contact with the people, those who are staying far away from us. So in this way you can proceed with the answers with the importance of telecommunication. Now next, just a minute. Next it is define the term trade. Now trade is just a buying and selling of the products or the goods is trade, and the features of rural and urban marketing centers, it's already been discussed in the previous questions. Now 2020, we don't know what are the questions that are going to come, but by seeing the trend of the questions, okay, one more question is there. What is tourism? Explain the factors which attract the tourist in the world. So you can see these are the topics. The communication has been discussed, the trade has been touched, the tourism part has been touched. Now what are the topics that has not been discussed for the last 2-3 years? It is the features of Quaternary, Quaternary, and till now the part that has not yet been discussed till date. We don't know for the today's this year, that is 2020 batch. But the topics which have not been touched are the topic of outsourcing and digital divide. So these topics are important for this batch. Now if you are having any doubts, just mention it in the comment section, and thank you for following my today's class. Have a nice day.